Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Epsilon 9 Drowns Out No Man's Sky. I'm still talking about Persona 5 because I just love that game so much. Now, last time I talked about the overall story and touched a little bit on the bouses. I liked them. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the bouses on my second playthrough. Thoughts on the good ending as opposed to the true ending? Because I haven't seen the true ending. Not spoiling myself on that one just yet. I won't tell you what the good ending is. It just raised a little bit of a question or two as to, well, my main question is, what the heck happened to your friends in the good ending? That's never, very clearly addressed. Do they just disappear? Or did they get brought back? And if they get brought back, what's their opinion on the deal that you set up? I'm kind of curious about that. Do they have a problem with it and they're no longer your friends? Do they have a problem with it and it's like, well, we can't do anything about it now, just gonna have to go through with it? Or are they brainwashed just like the rest of society? They never make that clear, and I find that kind of disappointing. Also, only 3 endings in the game? I was kind of hoping for, more possibilities. I mean, granted, you do have the non-standard game overs, like if you wait too long to complete a dungeon. I'm not familiar with too many others, but they do say that... I think the general consensus is the one with Makoto and the Yakuza guy. I think the general consensus is that might be the darkest one, where if you don't beat that guy within the allotted time, then she gets drugged, raped, and then you and your friends get set up for that, and God only knows what the heck happens to her and her sister after that. Damn! This game gets really dark at points. Kind of like it for that. I kind of like the fact that that's willing to get dark at points. So yeah, before I go on the characters, I do want to touch on the gameplay mechanics. Did I mention how much the game has got style in terms of the menus? I like the main menu. I like the menus that you get when you're in a fight with the various enemy personas. People who keep shitposting those dank Persona 5 memes of just plastering the battle menus on various people on various video clips and then playing You Never See It Coming Over. Keep doing that. It never gets old. I know that sounds sarcastic. It's not. Also, I do kind of like the fact that the various enemies are in fact personas. I prefer that over the random enemies that you get in Persona 4. Like the tables with the stuff swirling over top of it, or just the other random enemies that you got. Because really, it's I don't know, they just looked weird. There's no real excuse for the enemies to look like that. And also got they very clearly ran out of ideas, because I think each enemy got 2 different recolors and were just replastered on later levels. And most of the enemies weren't thematically appropriate for whatever area you were in. Meanwhile, with this one, it's the deeper into the dungeons you get, the more powerful the personas you encounter, and it's these personas are remnants of people's ideas of mythology. So it's the reason why people know about Cerberus and Thor is because they've been swimming around in people's subconscious, and that's how the mythologies came about. That's my interpretation. I like that interpretation. Also, it makes sense as to how you get access to the personas that way through negotiation. I really like the fact that they brought back negotiation in this one. I mean, negotiation a lot of times feels more like a coin toss than something you're making an active decision on. At least this one, it goes a little bit more towards this persona very clearly has this type of personality, so they're going to like this type of answer. I don't have those committed to memory because a lot of them are very vague. Because this persona makes this statement, and then the 3 answers that you get is which one of these is the serious answer, which one of these is the joking answer? Because quite frankly, all 3 of the answers seem really weird. That's just a problem I had with it. Overall, the mechanics I preferred in this game. Now, I made mention about this before I was even halfway through Persona 5, where it's Persona 5 and Nier Automata came out at roughly the same time. Both of those are games that were sequels to games that I love, and were sequels that I was waiting a really long time to getting around to playing. I love the previous games, I love both of those games. A minigame in games that I don't like are fishing minigames. I really don't like fishing minigames, and yet both of these games have, both Nier and Persona 4 have fishing minigames. And those fishing minigames are carried over into P5 and Nier Automata. I was like, it's kind of strange. But, in Nier Automata and P5, you don't have to do the fishing minigames. I freaking love that. Because in Nier, if you wanted to get, like, access to a lot of the, I think it was, like, a lot of the swords you wanted to get access to, and plus an achievement for the Xbox 360, plus a lot of side quests involved fishing. And P4, if you wanted to max out the Fox social link, you needed to go and fish for the biggest fish in the pond. Which you wanted to max out the Fox because the Fox was the best non-party member. I'll get more into that when I get to the social links. But in Nier Automata and P5 is like, in Nier Automata, yeah, if you want, like, the third pod, which I got completely by accident, just by fishing around, and you also, you got the pipe weapon, which is more of a joke weapon, honestly. You don't have to fish in Nier Automata, but you can, and you do get some rewards for it, just like in P5. The game does not make it mandatory for you to go fish. You do get certain perks if you do go fishing, but you can completely freaking skip it. And I'm so freaking happy about that. There were some gameplay mechanics which I completely overlooked. The one that comes first and foremost to mind is training in your room. I know that Morgana, when you first started playing Persona 5, says that, hey, you can train in your room, and I just kind of thought that was a joke. I didn't think that the beam would, like, support my weight, but then I noticed, like, on my second playthrough, hey, there's the chair, I can do that, I can train, I can up my HP by 5 points. And I'll probably be working in the gym, because apparently that increases my SP by a couple points. Only reason why you would ever do that is on your second playthrough, and at the start of the game, where you would normally up your social stats. By the time you're doing your second playthrough, your social stats should probably be maxed out, and, like, a lot of your social links, confidants, aren't available, so you're just gonna be, like, doing what the heck ever, which is probably gonna be training. There's not a whole heck of a lot else you can do. I am gonna be still reading books because I missed out on that achievement, because frickin' one of those books was locked behind a request that was missable. I missed the request, therefore I missed the book, therefore I missed the reading the book achievement. So I'm going to have to reread all the books on my second playthrough. That sucks. See, what else was some of the other mechanics? Watching the DVDs. Damn. I think, yeah. So, they do give you a lot more means to increase your social stats, like your knowledge, your guts, your kindness, and so on. One of those is watching DVDs, which the jokes were like, okay, what was it? Like, the X folders or something like that? With, Molly and Skulder, I think it was. And I think they have, like, God damn it. I should have probably brought up a list of some of the joke DVDs, but, like, they're very clearly based on, like, famous shows. Like, you had the one show, which I do remember just now, Guy McVer, which is a play on MacGyver. The problem with the DVDs, and this is a problem that pretty much everyone runs into, is you only get the DVDs for a week, and if you return the DVDs late, you gotta pay a late fee. And they waive the first late fee, and God knows that the game developers made that an option. Well, the game developers had the first late fee be waived because they knew that everyone was gonna return it late. And I did. And I did it twice. The second time was specifically because I rented the DVD, and then I kept on getting into, like, locked into a week's worth of cutscenes, and by the time I actually would have been able to return it, I didn't actually get around to watching it, because frickin' Morgana was like, hey, you just had a long, hard day, don't you want to get some sleep? I'm like, motherfucker, what do you think a DVD is? DVDs require no effort. I watch so much crap and fall asleep to them. That's what I could do with the freaking DVD. Let me watch the DVD and fall asleep to it, you freaking cat. Those freaking memes with Morgana telling people to go to sleep. Love those memes. Because damn it, it's true. Yeah, late fees with the DVDs. No late fees on renting library books. Those guys got it good. You can keep the book for as long as you want, but you can't rent another book until you return the first one that you rented. The video games, on the other hand, those were some freaking bullshit games. I got the Golden Finger trophy, and I'm never touching another freaking video game on Persona 5 again. Because, like, the button mashing minigames on the video games, those are fine. The dice roll games? Screw you, Morgana. I will absolutely use a cheat code to make those games easier, because those are not games. They are dice rolls. It is completely freaking random what you get. Why would you ever make that a game? Random number generators in games is some of the most horrible thing you could ever put in a video game. And those dice roll games are nothing but a random number generator. Screw you, it's all about luck, no skill. So yeah, you had the two dice roll games. You had two different games that were just like rapidly mash the buttons. I think you had the one game that was just a fighter. Oh my god. That game reminded me of why I don't play fighting games, because I could not get the frickin' inputs down right, even with the cheat code. Because one of the books you can read is a cheat code that make the various video games you can play easier. One of them was that you had to do like the half circle back forward, and damn, I can't do that frickin' combo. I'm just not good with fighting games. And I hopped online. A lot of people had the same problem, that's one of the reasons why. Well, because the thing is, like, if you're playing Persona 5, you're into JRPGs. There's a pretty good chance that you're not going to be into fighters also, and therefore you're not going to be, like, accustomed to doing a combo move like that. Well, fortunately, someone gave me a tip where if you just put a piece of tissue paper, like, if you grab a tissue out of a tissue box and just put that on the D-pad, it'll actually, like, register the inputs a lot better, because apparently the PlayStation 4 controller not really good at reading certain like precise inputs like that, which is why they're typically not good for higher end fighting games. So anyway, I eventually did get that. I beat all the video games in P5. Never gonna buy that game system again. There's no reason to do it. Absolutely none. Once your social stats are maxed out and once you got the trophy, even if you want the trophy, which I do intend on perfecting Persona 5, no reason to do it. So what was some of the other stuff? The time management. Half the reason the time management is an issue at all is because Morgana keeps insisting that you go to hell to bed, even when I freaking wake up first thing in the morning, that dork Mishima invites me out to lunch, I hang out with him for a 5-minute conversation, come back, it's freaking evening, and Morgana's like, man, you had a long busy day, don't you want to get some sleep? No! All I done today is to just have lunch with some douchebag. The most that could have lasted was 2 hours. And not exactly that tiring. You're just gonna waste the entire freaking day and not even allow me to do stuff in the evening just because I hung out with one guy for a couple hours? Screw you, cat. Which is why I prefer confidants over social links. Social links is something that you get in Persona 4. Confidants is something you get in Persona 5. I might slip up and call confidants social links because they are, for all intents and purposes, the same, but there is one key difference. Social links, if you're increasing the social link of your party members, they will gain certain unique abilities. Mostly it's going to be like, hey, you reach this level with your best buddy, so now he'll, like, knock you out of the way and take a fatal blow for you, or something like that. But if you're, like, leveling up with anyone else, it just increases Arcana boosts. It makes personas of that particular Arcana more powerful when you fuse them. Confidants, on the other hand, every single one of them has, like, a whole bunch of, like, different bonuses you get aside from the Arcana boost. So that means, like, there's some guys out there who aren't part of your party that you're going to want to level up more than actual party members. Which I will get to those when I talk about characters. Is there anything in terms of mechanics that I'm forgetting? Oh, fight mechanics. I'm glad that light and dark are actually viable now. Because previously, light and dark attacks just have such and such chance of killing your enemy in one shot, they don't actually deal damage. And this one, you have light and dark attacks that just straight up deal damage. Also, I'm kind of happy that they brought in psychic attacks. I'm happy that psychic attacks get more powerful if like an enemy's like dizzy or something, or if they have like a mental status ailment on them. That makes psychic more valuable. Also, I love the fact that nuclear is in the game, because nuclear is not only really cool in and of itself, but also becomes more nuclear attacks become more powerful if your enemy in question is burned, frozen, or stunned, I think it is. And I think they established the fact that the wind attacks out of the 4 primary elements is the weakest, but if an enemy is burnt, then using a wind attack will make the wind attack even more powerful because you're just fanning the flames. I like that. I hope that carries on into the next game. Which, I might not get Persona 6 because the crew that made P3, 4, and 5 are moving on to other projects. And that kind of upsets me. It's like, so, if the guys that made these games so good aren't going to be working on P6, am I going to be that interested in P6? Probably not. I might, though. I'm still looking forward to P5 the Crimson, which is a rumored game, because if Persona 4 got P4 the Golden, then Persona 5 is probably going to get P5 the Crimson. Which, I'd be interested to see how much more stuff they can cram into that game, because it just blew my mind with the kind of crap that they squeezed in on P4G, and then a lot of that stuff got carried over into P5. Like, most of the year you actually already have access to. They don't skip a whole lot in P5. At least as far as I know. Again, I haven't gotten the true ending. Yeah, there's not a whole heck of a lot else that I can actually think of offhand. I might think of more as I go through the characters. The characters, starting off with the main party members, which I'll probably just go over the main party members and then end the episode because we're getting a little far along. So, the main character in this one, basically, his name is Akira Kurusu. That's what I'm calling him. I don't know if when P5, the anime, or P5 Dancing Star Night comes out and they're going to give him a different name on that one. But, because it once comes down to the fact that the P3 protagonist, I know I'm having a hard time trying to get this sentence started. The guys over at SMT, they have a real hard time coming up with freaking names for the characters. In a lot of other games where they give you the ability to name the character, if you just hit start without naming it, the game will default to hero or MC, whatever. And then you had SMT4, which I haven't played yet, but I do know that if you hit start on that, it'll be called Finn. They voice the character's name as Finn. Or is it Flynn? Is one of the two. And I wish they carried that over to 5. Just give the character a freaking canon name. Because after, I think the P3 protagonist got the name Minato Orisato from one of the movies or something like that. And in P4, it worked out very well, because when P4 first came out, you had the manga, in which his name was Setasoji. And then by the time P4G came out, you already had Persona 4 Dancing All Night, and you had the anime, both in which the character's name was Yu Narukami, which is why I named the character in P4G. Now, currently, we only have the manga for P5, and in that his name is Akira Kurusu. And I like that name, and that's the name I went with in P5, and I'm hoping that's the name that sticks, but we will know what his canon name is once P4 Dancing Star Night comes out, unless they call him Joker, which they might. They will not call him Joker in the P5 anime, because God knows the teachers are not going to frickin' call the character by his thief code name. I'm looking forward to finding out who the canon relationship is in the anime. It's gotta be Makoto, because it's Makoto in the manga. That's great. Frickin' love Makoto. Her persona is a frickin' motorcycle. That's great. Not too happy the fact that it evolves into a more humanoid persona, just like a lot of the other personas. It's nuclear. She's really a good melee fighter. She's got a good healing ability. She is the best girl in the game. We're already at the 20-minute mark. guess I'll just end it right here. I'll see you guys in the next episode where I talk more about Persona 5's characters.